Today I'm going to show you how to paint this barn owl on watercolour paper with acrylics. So instead of painting on a canvas, I'm painting on watercolour paper. And I've done the usual. I've given it a coat of acrylic gel medium and on some burnt sienna to create a coloured ground to paint onto. You can just about still see the drawing. So I'm just going over that drawing now with this small brush, a little bit of burnt sienna there, but mainly Payne's grey for most of it, just to give me those outlines, because I'll be painting heavily over the top, so I want to make sure I don't lose the shapes. So that's basically it. Make sure I've got that eye nice and dark there. Now I can change over to my 1-inch bristle flat brush. And I can start painting the background. A quick mist spray of water will allow that paint to move around an awful lot easier. And don't be too worried if you go over the bird here and there. You know roughly now where the shapes are. I can use my finger to blend and make it nice and haphazard, because this is going to be an impressionist style painting. So it's going to be rough and haphazard, and using plenty of really wayward brushstrokes, you might call them. It's not going to be about detail. I'm keeping that well out of the painting. I'll only put a little bit in the face. That's all, because that's where I want the viewer's direction and gaze to concentrate, is in the face. The rest of it is just going to be completely impressionistic. And you can see how fast, I know this is speeded up, but you can see how fast I'm painting. That way you can see that the paint is still wet, and so I'm able to blend really quite nicely. Look at that background, it looks like oil paint because I can blend with it because the paint is still wet. And one of the ways it does this is you can make the paint stay wet for longer by giving it a mist spray, spraying the entire paper with a little bit of mist spray so that it's damp, not wet, just damp. And then when you apply paint over the top, you're sealing that dampness in, so the paint takes much longer to dry. Try it, I think you'll like it. It is the way to paint with acrylic paints, as well as fast. You can see how I do spray it every now and again just to keep it wet, so I can then start moving it around with this silicone tool. And I've left links in the description below if you're interested in any of the tools, materials and equipment that I use. Now my kitchen fork, just to put a little bit of texture and sgraffito into there, just to give it some interest in this messy layer, because this painting is all about painting in layers, which is how you should paint with acrylics. And those layers then produce interest when you paint a layer over the top of another dried layer. So I'm just going to put some of these little lights in here. The highlights where the light's just catching the bird with this old worn bristle fan brush. Like that. Very loose, very rough and ready, just to give me the hint and the idea of the shapes and where the lights are. Like that. And we're using the fork once again and my finger to blend and move the paint around. Like that. Dry that layer off completely, and then that is the first layer finished. It's the messy layer. Now I can go over the top once again using similar colours, this time perhaps a little brighter on that light area, and I will have to go over that several times in order for it to stay bright. But you can see when I'm painting over these layers, some of those underlying layers, some areas are showing through. Those scratch marks and colours are still showing through. Use my finger to move the paint around, and even an old damp kitchen towel. That produces great results. As you can see, I can get this like misty-like quality to it just by using an old kitchen roll. This is why acrylics are so good for doing all sorts of techniques. So I can put some darks back into this background here, like that, and then I can pick up the kitchen roll once again and move that paint around. Experiment with different ways of applying paint in those different layers. I'm now going to add some really quite dark reds here on this side, and perhaps in the wing as well, because you have to show contrast. It's all too easy for acrylics to dry quite flat, so you have to paint quite contrasty, bright and dark against each other. Some really bright cadmium orange there, which I'm just going to loosely move around with this damp kitchen towel I should say. Then I can start to put in some of the lighter areas of the face using this rake brush. It's an old worn one. I do keep meaning to get myself a new one, but it produces such wonderful rough abstract shapes. I do like brushes that do that. I like worn brushes for that very reason. I also I prefer to use bristle brushes whenever I'm painting with acrylics. Apart from this brush, which is a nylon, but it is a rake brush, so it has all these little fine hairs that come out of it. Okay, a little bit of red into that, just to give me a little, it's alizarin crimson, just to give me that darker area and shade around the eye there. And a few little darks on its little shadow there with those little ruffles that it has. I use my fingers a lot when I'm painting, just to move the paint around or tone it down. If you put a colour on that's too bright, just tap it with your finger and it'll go slightly more dull. The same with the dark colour. If you tap it with your finger, it'll go slightly lighter. So use your finger to adjust the colours. Like that. Putting its little eyebrow in here. See, this is a little bit dark. It's a little bit too dark, so tap it with my finger and it'll lighten it up. Just tap, 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 like that, and it lightens it up. So that's how you can change things as you're going along, as you paint. So remember to keep it nice and loose and fresh. Bold brush strokes. So I'm using a little bit of phthalo blue in this colouring here in the wing. Now I need to get that eye shape correct. It's always extremely important in any animal to get the eye shape absolutely correct. I'll just put a little hint of the eye on that side, and I'm just going to amend that little mark I actually made accidentally there in that light area. But I can tell you that working on watercolour paper is actually really nice. It's very, very nice because it has this texture that's different to canvas, but is great for doing all sorts of styles, I think. It's also really, for those of you who are interested, it's very, very economical because you get like, I don't know, a dozen or up to 20 sheets in a pad. This is a pad of about a dozen sheets, I think. It's a gummed pad, so it's sealed on all four edges, so it stops the paper buckling. It's 300 GSM, which is 140 pound weight, and it's cold pressed as well, so it has a little bit of texture. You can get hot pressed, which is very smooth, which is also very good for acrylic painting. But I really like the texture that this produces. It adds to the textural effect of some of the other things that I'm doing. So I'm just going to put in a few little highlights with this dagger brush here. Another great brush that has all sorts of brush strokes in it. You can do all sorts of things with this brush. blending. You can paint large areas, you can paint fine lines. I'm going to dry that off now completely around the head, so I can start to put in a little bit of dry brush round the eye just to shade it in, nicely blend it into that area. And then some highlights once again. I'm going to make a alizarin crimson with some cadmium orange just for the colour of the beak. Then I'll just put some lights in as well, just to alter the colour slightly, like that. And then a little highlight in the eye and around the lower eyelid really makes the eye come alive. And then a little bit of colour in the bottom of that eye. And then a bit more colour in the beak. And I'll just put some little highlight in the eye now, and also on that beak, and they come alive. Now I'm using my splayed bristle brush technique, this old worn nylon brush, that I can splay the bristles off on the palette like that, and I can produce all these little fine lines. And it seems like the watercolour paper accepts this really very, very nicely. A few splatter techniques as well. So a little bit of splatter there, and I'll also use this same brush just to put in a few foliage kind of areas, and then go through with my fork, kitchen fork, just once again, just here and there, just to create a little bit of interest in those areas, like that. Okay, around that eye, once again, make those darks really dark, like that. I'll put in a few more darks on its little ruffles there it has on its cheek. Tap them with my finger if they're too dark. And then a little bit of that tawny sort of a colour that this bird has, orangey colour, and I can blend it into the whiter areas by using a little bit of lighter colour there. And then I can finish off by putting in some pure lights, pure white right at the end, just a couple of little areas. And once I've done that, then that's the painting finished. Hopefully I will see you on my next painting video. So until then, have a lovely day and happy painting!